Hello.
It's 2019. My daughter, alive in an October heatwave, clamours for the beach. I'm writing, I say. We'll go tomorrow. Tomorrow, she says, the beach will be at the door. Her world is a screen flickering and dying. The power is outed by another fire. She drifts, disconnected. Asks about the koalas. Braemar Forest is burning. There is nothing good to tell her. My daughter dances while ice sheets are melting. She is a gull dipping along the waterline. I am reading the news and plotting shopping and dinner, holding my careful mirror to reflect back her joy. North, there is ocean where my 19-year-old fingers swam brilliant into coral sparkling with fish. Tomorrow, she may visit bleached expanses of graveyard. She asks for a sandwich. I wonder if her future still holds the taste of tomatoes. My daughter spreads her wings while species extinguish, and the nest we return to is crumbling. I teach her to budget. I tell her about sex. I watch magpies lead their fledglings across the lawn. At night, we perch on the front porch railing, awash in the light of still beautiful stars. Her voice fills the yard with school pranks and YouTubers, excited and fragile, only the earth to carry her. It's February 2022 and I can't write you a flood story. The ones I would write it for already know the way blood becomes mud, moves thickly, slowing our limbs. The way mud becomes blood, the gout of our houses, road after road of hearts emptied into the street. If you weren't there, how can I tell you that the sky can fall like a hammer, the way a town buckles beneath it, how to clutch your children in the violent dark. I don't know the word for this sound that remains of water roaring into water, how to tell you your room can close like a fist, that forever your eyes will search for the gaps in its grip. I can tell you of salvage, that a camphor chest of photos will float, that in the bloated carcass of a bathroom, the cardboard artwork of a woman's face remains unmoved 2 metres below the waterline. I can tell you of courage, that an old dog can live for a day in a tree, that a man can laugh and pass you a flask while you hold for him the moment his roof became a raft, while you hold for him the moment his esky was a boat that he hoped was enough to carry his tiny daughter if the roof tiles should go under. I can tell you this, that the hewn pine of a 200-year-old piano smells as fresh under the chainsaw as it did the day the tree that gave it dropped. That when its long-held panels give way, your childhood will hang in the dank and the loss, and from its frame a snake it has saved will slide out over your warm and living hand. There's something in that I'm still learning to understand. But what can I tell you? You who live on ground that's still solid. How to count your front steps like the breaths you have left and watch the river take them. How to beg inside a deluge. That the pocket of oxygen where you exist is not fixed. That you have to climb after it. From the table to the bench top till it sticks beneath the rafters where you stay and pray for the rain to stop while your foothold shifts, while the fridge tips, while a framed photograph of your parents rises like a fish beside your elbow. That you live here after the rescue. I can't write you a flood story. There is nothing left to know except this. That when the world comes to take herself back, we can't choose what we hold. That eyes are not windows, they're levee walls. And that dawn in a broken garden, still outlines every dying leaf with gold. It's March 2022. It's the day after our climate change denying budget night. Lismore's underwater for the second time. And the Prime Minister went to a funeral. It wasn't ours. He doesn't know us. And he doesn't have time for us today. A famous cricketer is dead. We are famous too now, but not dead. Though the broken corpse of our drowned town lies submerged before we could give her a proper burial. The Prime Minister has important things to do, we understand. We understood it through the day we waited on our roofs. We understood it through the week we waited without food, without fuel, with our water running out. The Prime Minister visited after that. We saw it on the news. It wasn't quite how it looked to us, but his photographers were closer, so probably they had a better view. He stood in Parliament and spoke of us without weeping. Sent us motorhomes that couldn't be used, 40 of them to house our homeless. We were confused. We thought he must have missed that there are thousands of us. The Prime Minister consoled us there would be money in our hands. We think he didn't understand that money cannot hold us, that money cannot keep our land from the river. We think he didn't understand what coal does, that the poles of our earth are shifting, that everything they told us has come in drought, has come in flames, has come in rain so violent that it was named a bomb. The Prime Minister thinks in artillery and has a home while we don't. So we went to Kirribilli with the bodies from our battlefield. We wanted him to see what had been done. Instead, he said that we were weaponising our disaster. But we are not holding guns. We are holding our heads in our hands. The Prime Minister went to a funeral. It wasn't ours, though last night the water rose again. We listened to the sky roar and waited to hear how he would spend our taxes to defend us. But our Prime Minister has friends and earns his turn in power by paying them to fuel the deadly weather. Today, he wore a nice suit, 8 canapes, while we pulled back on our rubber boots and tried to save ourselves. It's 2019. It was the briefest rainfall, but after, a frog is singing. One small voice where once there was a chorus. Crows fly over, make caustic remarks, the cars keep passing. But here, in the parched yard, a tiny amphibian croaks simply, I hope, I hope, I hope. And it is all I have to move me through the morning.